What's up guys, thanks for tuning in to my latest video. This one's a story about the time we did a job for a customer who refused to pay. And it wasn't a small job, it was a full central heating and a new combi boiler job. So it was quite a big deal because we are a small company. It's just me now, but it was me and my dad and Kev at the time. So just the three of us, and we couldn't afford to be fitting a central heating system for someone for free. So I'm going to tell you start to finish what happened. Yeah, and that's what it's going to be. You'll also get a little bit of an insight into my apprenticeship. So working for family, I did my apprenticeship while I was still living at home with my dad being my boss. Couldn't really get away with anything. I remember one day, Sunday morning, I played football, dislocated my ankle. Monday morning, the next day, he still made me go to work, even though I could hardly walk, and just watch what Kev was doing. And you couldn't do any overtime, anything after hours if you had to work late or at the weekends, was just for love, you know, it's your family. So, and the other thing, the main difference between my apprenticeship and I think modern ones is young lads these days can't be left on their own. They always have to have supervision, and I was left on my own all the time. So I'd get dropped off at a job and then picked up as and when my dad or Kev had finished what they were doing and could come and fetch me. And I remember the first big mistake I made was when I'd been left. It was on Foss Road South in Leicester doing a bathroom suite. And I got my screw box, obviously, because I was doing all kinds of stuff. And when I went to screw the bath legs on, I used a screw out my screw box and went straight through the bath, because I hadn't been shown that you have to use the screws that come with the bath. And then later on, I used to get hand-me-down vans from my dad or Kev. So when they got a new van, I'd get their old van. And even when I was still an apprentice, I was driving around in one of my dad's old, I think it was a Citroen C5. It didn't have a front seat. It had a seat out of another car or van that had been fitted into it. It was just horrible. And I wasn't even insured to drive that thing because insurance at the time, I remember finding this out, insurance was too expensive for me because I was like 18 years old, driving a van, I don't know. Anyway, all kinds of crap like that used to happen to me. But this job was in Nuneaton, and it was for one of my mum's friends. And I say friends, she used to work with a lady called Mrs. Clark. And at the time I did the job, Mrs. Clark was about 90 years old. And it was her daughter who was organising the work and stuff, because she was the mother, Mrs. Clark, was bedridden. So she obviously called up because of the relationship with my mum and asked my dad to go around to quote for finishing a job. Now at this stage, you probably would have alarm bells ringing, red flags, whatever, when you saw it. But because it was a family friend, I don't think my dad twigged on, and he's quite a nice man, so it's probably not something he thought was going to happen. But there was already some pipe work there. There was some drops down into the hallway, and there was some pipe work in the bathroom for the new boiler, basically. So Dad went to quote for it. We're going to fit a Baxi Platinum and radiators throughout, alter some pipe work. I had to go under the floor in the living room, the lounge, some other bits. But yeah, what would happen is Dad would drop me off in the morning with my kit, and I would be there all day until he was back in Nuneaton to pick me up. And then the stuff was getting delivered from PTS, so the radiators and the boiler came, and I just cracked on. And I remember at the time thinking she was a bit strange, because I think she made me a cup of tea once, but for the fact that I was there all day, I didn't see her. She was always somewhere around, you know, out of the way. I never really saw her. And the mother was in the bed upstairs, so I only ever saw her when I went in to fit her radiator in the bedroom. But whatever, I did the job, got it done, it was all working. At the end of the job, I remember her saying to my dad what a nice young man I was, how I'd done such a good job, blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, as far as I was concerned, that was it. It was done. I don't have anything to do with collecting the money or the invoicing or whatever. I just work and that's it. So then a few weeks went by, and my dad told me that he was struggling to get hold of her to make payment, and we weren't being paid for the job. And this went on for a month, 2 months. And I remember at the time being quite upset about it, because I'd never experienced anything like this before. I just thought, you do a job for someone and they pay you. So I remember writing her a letter saying, oh, we're a small company, it's just me, my dad and Kev, we can't afford for you to not pay your bill. It's quite a big thing for us, can you please pay, kind of thing. And send that off, still heard nothing back. And then I remember when I was nearby, because we used to do work out in Hinckley and Burbage, just nipping to Nuneaton and knocking on the door. And 2 times I went, she never answered. The 3rd time I went, the next door neighbour came out, and he was a real quiet, quite short guy. And I remember him saying to me, "Oh, are you the guy that fitted the new heating system?" And I was like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh, she's I wanted to tell you this at the time, but I was too scared. She's done this before." And then he told me she'd had a new heating system which she never paid for, so the previous plumber had been and ripped it out, and that's why there was pipe work there. She'd also had a new kitchen and a new conservatory that she'd not paid for, and it was in trouble with the police and all kinds of things. So obviously I went and told my dad. He then went to the police, told them what had happened. We took her to court, went through the court. She didn't have any money to pay, but she agreed to pay back in instalments. I can't remember exactly how it was. My dad seems to think it was about 50 quid a month, something stupid like that. She paid the first month, and then the second month she couldn't pay. So Dad then rang her, and she agreed to let us go back in and take it all out. So I remember going back, me and my dad together. We took all the radiators off, took the boiler out. I remember her clear as day. She just sat in the kitchen at the kitchen table and didn't make eye contact or say a word the whole time we was in there. So we just quickly drained it down, took all the rads, took the boiler, and then I probably shouldn't have done this, but I remember doing it. I went round and I snapped every copper tail that came out the floor, all the drops as they came out the ceiling, just in case she did it again, so someone would realise something had gone on, to see the pipes snapped. And then I went round to the gas meter box and I wrote a note. I said, "Do not do any work for this woman. She will not pay you." And I took that in with the gas meter, hoping that if she did try it again, the next guy would see it and get a clue. And yeah, that's what happened. We reused the radiators, and the boiler we used for another landlord. We just explained to him that it was a second-hand boiler and that we wouldn't be able to give it a warranty, but we would cover any breakdowns, spares, etc. if he would have this second-hand boiler. So we kind of got the materials, money back for the materials. It was just my labour. I think I was there 3 or 4 days in total. So that's what we lost out on. It was just a bad experience, really. And I've told this story a couple of times to people, and they've always said, "Oh, I thought once you fitted a boiler in someone's house, it was their property and you're not allowed to take it out if they don't pay." I don't know how it works. Someone in the comments will know exactly, but I do think if you put it in your terms and conditions, so at the quoting stage, before they agree to your quote, get them to sign to your terms and conditions that say anything you fit in their house, bathroom, suite, radiators, boiler, whatever it is, remains your property until full payment has been made. I think that's what you need to do to stop anything like this happening to you. So look into that would be the lesson of the video. But if anyone in the comments knows, if anyone's got a legal background and knows about what your rights are, as a, you know, fitting radiators in a boiler, if they don't pay, can you just go and rip it out? I don't know, but that's what we did. It was about 19 I was, so 21 years ago now. I think I remember it quite well because it was like a big event for me, but I did ask my dad about it. He was a bit more sketchy of remembering what had happened, but yeah, it was just one of those things. And I know people get taken for a lot worse. I mean, the total bill would have been what, $4 grand. Nobody died, that kind of thing. But when you're a small business, it is a lot of money, and it did upset me at the time. Obviously, it would have upset my dad because it's like, also it's a lot of stress, added workload. You do a job, you want to get paid and move on to the next job. You don't want to be chasing people for money, having to go to court, all that kind of crap. So yeah, that's what happened. Live to tell the tale. Hope you found that story interesting. Hopefully you've learned something from it. Maybe you're thinking, wow, I better get some terms and conditions in place, because obviously you don't want it happening to you. Thanks for watching. If you don't already subscribe, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll have another video out for you, the life of a jobbing plumber, on Sunday night. Cheers, guys.